best for the people in Bowie. We at PFLAG Bowie have had conversations with parents from out of state who are asking questions about relocating to Maryland to preserve their children's welcoming schools and gender-affirming health care. The pride flag is a signal of hope to these families seeking a refuge from the growing movement that excludes some of their family members. By flying a pride flag, we're saying that Bowie is a community that welcomes and celebrates these families. PFLAG Bowie would be happy to purchase the flag for the city and any necessary hanging hardware. We would also be delighted to collaborate on any festivities that might accompany that flag-raising event. And we look forward to future partnerships that can enhance the lives of all families in this wonderful city. PFLAG respectfully requests that the City Council consider flying a pride flag this June to celebrate Pride Month and our citizens here. Did you have any questions?
Nope, but thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us.
I have a souvenir for everyone. So, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All righty, thank you very much for coming in and sharing your thoughts. Next item on the agenda is presentations. For this evening, we actually have 3 presentations, and I will begin with the first one, recognizing Restaurant Week. And if we could have Mr. Henry King, John Henry King, come on up and
I'm sacrificing Tiara Andrews.
Tiara, well. All right, thank you.
And I'm going to attempt to take pictures of my shoes and my thumb.
Excellent, very nice. All right, I'm going to read the proclamation here for Restaurant Week. This is a proclamation of the City Council of Bowie, Maryland, observing Restaurant Week for April 21st through 27th. So everybody mark your calendars here in the city of Bowie. Whereas the city of Bowie is home to a diverse and vibrant community that celebrates culture, creativity, and local business. And the city of Bowie recognizes the importance of supporting its small businesses, particularly those in the culinary industry, which play a crucial role in shaping our local economy and providing delicious and innovative dining experience for our residents and visitors. And the City of Bowie proudly announces the celebration of Restaurant Week, a week-long event dedicated to showcasing and supporting local restaurants, chefs, and food artisans, which will be held from April 21st to April 27th. And we will provide a unique opportunity to explore the rich flavors, diverse cultures, and cuisines being offered by the culinary community. And this event is an opportunity for the City of Bowie to strengthen its commitment to supporting local businesses, fostering community engagement, and encouraging people to explore the culinary treasures of our city. Restaurant Week will promote collaboration between local businesses and the community, enhancing the local economy and showcasing the best of what Bowie has to offer to both residents and visitors alike. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, does hereby proclaim April 21st to April 27th, 2025 to be Restaurant Week in the City of Bowie, and encourages all residents and visitors to participate in the celebration of our city's culinary scene by supporting local restaurants and dining establishments. Furthermore, the Council of the City of Bowie extends their heartfelt appreciation to all participating restaurants, chefs, and food industry professionals for their dedication to making Bowie a great place to dine and share in the joy of good food, good company, and community. Adopted and presented by the Council of Bowie, Maryland, at a regular meeting this evening, April 7, 2025. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for... Why don't we go down here and have a picture for everybody? Thank you.
Join with the council, please.
Oh, where?
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for appointing. I do want to say a special thank you to Tiara and also to Mr. John Henry King for getting this effort underway. We have heard loud and clear from our community the importance of having good dining choices here in the city and how important it is for our residents, and we're always seeking to expand those opportunities. And part of that is promoting what we have and celebrating and making it more enjoyable for people to just live in the community and get an opportunity to experience different foods from different cultures, as well as just kind of old traditional things that we've come accustomed to. And so thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much for participating in the event this year, which will become an annual event and will be, I think, a good thing for the city to promote and help with our business folks as well as our community members. So again, thank you very much. And we have another proclamation here as well. This is something, well, I'll let people understand here momentarily. This is a proclamation of the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, recognizing April 6th through April 12th as Animal Control Appreciation Week in the city of Bowie. Whereas the City of Bowie animal control officers work tirelessly to protect animals and people, enforce laws, rescue animals in need, and promote responsible pet ownership. And whereas these professionals respond to emergencies, assist law enforcement, and safeguard public health through disease prevention and humane enforcement, and whereas their dedication ensures the safety and well-being of our community's animals and residents, often working in challenging and unpredictable conditions, and whereas in fiscal year 2024, the City of Bowie animal control officers took 649 service reports. And whereas Animal Control Appreciation Week is a nationally recognized event during the second full week of April, honoring the vital work of these professionals. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, does hereby recognize April 6th through April 12th of 2025 as Animal Control Appreciation Week. And we encourage all residents to join in recognizing and expressing their appreciation for the dedication and service by the individuals who serve as our animal control officers. Adopted and presented by the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland at a regular meeting on April 7, 2025. Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
So it's been properly moved and seconded. We'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. I do want to extend, do we have anybody from our animal control offices here? Please come on up here. I want to make sure, I want to make sure, Mark, if you can make sure that you get these ladies and gentlemen on the screen here for our residents at home. I want to say a special thank you to all of you for all the good work you do. We have tremendous services here in the city, and one of the things that's been recognized time and again is the reliance on our members on your services. And so many people have said thank you to me. They've reached out to me and commented specifically about the good work that you've done. So thank you very much. Why don't we have pictures down here?
Squeeze in a little bit.
Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate it. Good work. Thank you. All righty. There's my agenda. Here we go. So I do think they do wonderful work and very much appreciate it. I think I could do the dog and cat part, but when it comes to the snakes and everything else, I think that's something that I call in the professionals for. So thank you very much again.
You noted in the resolution they took 649 service reports. Do you know how challenging it is for the animal control officers to question a dog and a cat? And they do it so well, and we have very few problems, so they're to be commended.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. All right, the next item on presentations is from the Green Team. Members of the Green Team, Environmental Advisory Committees will present brief remarks on Earth Month. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Teasdale. Oh, look who's, come on. No, nobody hides in the back. Come on and please join. Thank you.
Okay. So, the city of Bowie has been a leader in environmental protection and sustainability for years. On behalf of the Environmental Advisory Committee and the Green Team, we thank Council and city staff for their contributions making Bowie a truly green city. As we move into April, also known as Earth Month, it is appropriate to celebrate our green accomplishments and to look forward to many green activities. I cannot think of a better way to celebrate than to recognize the winner of the 2025 Bowie Green Citizen Award. This year's winner is Sue Lavera. And she will be officially awarded at the Green Expo this Saturday. Sue truly characterizes what it means to be a green citizen. She has set an example of green living both by conserving and recycling resources within her home, by converting her yard into a thriving habitat surrounding her home. She also is passionate about outreach to increase environmental awareness and practices in schools and in the community. It is now most appropriate that our model green citizen, Sue Lavera, come forward to read the council proclamation for Earth Month. And then Bob Kelway will come forward to review selected events that are being held in honor of Earth Month. Sue.
Thank you, John, and good evening, good friends. Before I start, I have an advertisement, and you at home, please pay attention. You know what this is? It's a plastic bottle. Do you know that when you twist this cap and open it, that little microbeads of plastic go into your water? So when you drink the water, you're drinking plastic. This is what we suggest, that you get yourself a stainless steel refillable bottle. And if you have these, please recycle them. Okay, now the proclamation. Oh, I want to add, what's that? It was a PSA, yes. I also wanted to say that Ann Fleming, who just did the PFLAG thing, she is a green citizen, a Bowie green citizen. So that's very notable. She's also in charge of the Bowie Green Expo, which is Saturday at the Senior Center from 12 to 4. So, the proclamation of the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland, proclaiming April 2025 as Earth Month in the City of Bowie. Whereas the first Earth Day was celebrated 53 years ago and is now celebrated by communities across the globe, and whereas the city seeks to involve all residents in Earth Month activities to increase awareness of and participation in environmental protection. And whereas the city will host a number of events in honor of Earth Month in order to celebrate the environment in the city and prepare for the formulation of the new Environmental Action Plan. And whereas the City Council, Environmental Advisory Committee, Green Team, and staff work diligently to provide residents with a healthy, sustainable environment, improving tree canopy, energy efficiency, and water resources. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland hereby proclaims April of 2025 as Earth Month in the City of Bowie. This is introduced and passed by the Council of the City of Bowie, Maryland at a regular meeting on this date, April 7th, 2025. So thank you for that. And another PSA. If any of you at home and here are not already receiving the monthly green newsletter, go through the webpage to the City of Bowie's green page, and you can sign up for it. It's free. It's very informational, so you'll know about all the deals in particular that are going on now. So again, thank you. And Bob?
I'm next.
Yeah.
Good evening, Council and Mayor Adams. It's an honor to be here and to follow two great citizens, John and Sue Rivera. So they do so much for this community, and I thank them for everything that they do. They asked me to come up tonight to speak a little bit about some of the main events that are going to be happening in the area to honor Earth Day. As you all know, we have a lot of activities with the Green Team, you know, the pollinator gardens, the weed warrior, and things like that. So I'm going to mention a couple of the kind of larger events. And it looks like Ann Fleming's getting a lot of press tonight because the first one I'm going to talk about is the 12 April Bowie Green Expo that's sponsored by the Lions. So again, that's going to be at the Senior Center this year, the Senior Center, not the Ken Hill Center. It's the motto is Our Planet, Our Power, and that's going to be from 12 to 4 on the 12th. A couple of the sponsors that are going to be there at are the Bowie Crofton Garden Club, which I think you guys are members of. Also, the Chesapeake Climate Action Network is going to be there, Eco Oasis, one of our local businesses, and a Power Home Remodeling, along with other green vendors. And so the Bowie Green Team is going to be there. We're going to have EVs on site, lots of good things for people to learn about how to become greener and more friendly to our environment. The second event is actually down on the DC Mall, and that's on the 19th of April. That's the following week, and it's sponsored by the Greater Washington Region Clean Cities Coalition, and they're having a celebration for Earth Day with the same motto, Our Power, Our Planet, and they're going to have a 5K walk. They're going to walk around the Capitol, walk down to the Washington Monument, and back. The rally point is kind of near the National Gallery of Art there on the mall, Madison and 3rd. That's going to be from 10 to 3. Opening ceremony is at 9:30, and then the walk will start around 10 o'clock. The third thing is going to be electric DC is sponsoring a Healthy Homes Fair, which is going to be at Catholic University. Last year they had it at the Armory, but now they've moved it to Catholic University. So they're going to put on display all kinds of ways that residents can improve the health of their home by going electric and getting off fossil fuels and like that. So they'll have all kinds of vendors there to show their wares and educate the public. So again, that's going to be on the 10th of May, 9 to 5 at Catholic University. So that's all I have. Congratulations to Sue again. Also, I'd like to put a plug in for Ashley Diaz and Lexi Willems. There are city points of contact for everything that we do green-wise. We couldn't do what we do without them. They are great advocates and great members of the City Bowie of government. So thank you again. Think globally, act locally. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations again, Sue, for your selection. You are indeed worthy of the recognition. So thank you very much for all you do, and thanks to everybody. And Bob, you were right about Ashley and Lexi. As a matter of fact, this evening, as we're having our meeting here, they're holding a meeting with the garden plots holders right now. So they are busy at another green event even now, and they're helping the community in that regard. So thank you very much for your presentation this evening. Thank you. We have it on the agenda. It's on the consent agenda, but yeah. All right, so next item that we have here is city boards and committees. We have several people who have stepped forward to volunteer their services in helping their community. The first is Ms. Patricia Blake. She was interviewed on March 17, 2025 for appointment to the Community Outreach Committee. Council concurred to appoint her to the committee as a regular member for a 2-year term. Is there a motion to appoint her?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to move to appoint Ms. Patricia Blake as a regular member of the Community Outreach Committee.
Outstanding. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion's been properly made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Fantastic. We will also have, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have you come on down here and join us. And actually, next person I'd like to have come down as well is Angela Roca. Is Angela here? Oh, very good. There she is. Come on down. You can stand here right there. Stand right up there at the microphone, and then we're going to come down afterwards and we'll do the swearing in. The next is Angela Roca. She was interviewed on March 17 for appointment to the Community Recreation Committee. Council concurred to appoint her to the committee as a regular member for a 2-year term. Is there a motion to appoint her?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to appoint Ms. Angela Roca for the Community Recreation Committee.
There's been a motion to appoint and a proper second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Angela. All right. Mr. Randall Jordan, are you here this evening? Fantastic. There he is. Come on down. Mr. Jordan was interviewed on March 3rd for appointment to the Arts Committee. Council appointed him to the committee as a regular member for a 2-year term. Is there a motion for approval?
Mayor Pro Tem, I'm sorry, he was appointed at the March 17th already, so we just need to swear him in.
All right, very good. So you're just here for the fun part. You're just here for the swearing. That speaks to your role here. So what we're going to do, I'll read the oath of office. You have a couple of choices. You may either swear or affirm. You don't have to do both. And then I will ask you to indicate your name as appropriate as we get to that part, and also indicate the committee to which you have been appointed. All right? So we'll do it together as a class project, right? All right. All right, we'll start off with hands up, and we'll say, I, and state your name. Do swear or affirm. All of them. Okay. Start over again. So class project, absolutely, yes. Well, we'll get this right some point. So I, state your names.
I, Patricia Blake. I, Angela Rocca.
I, Randall Jordan.
Do swear or affirm.
Do swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
To the state of Maryland. And support the Constitution and laws thereof.
And support the Constitution and laws thereof.
And that I will.
That I will.
To the best of my skill and judgment.
To the best of my skill and judgment.
Diligently and faithfully, without partiality.
Diligently and faithfully, without partiality
Or prejudice.
or prejudice.
Execute the office of regular member of.
Execute the office of regular member of the Community Outreach Committee.
Community Recreational Committee.
The Bowie Arts Committee.
According to the Constitution and laws of this state.
According to the Constitution and laws of this state.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. All right. All right. Please come on down here and let's see what we have here. Tricia, there you go.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Angela, this is for you. Thank
right, come down.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
And Randall, this is for you. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for volunteering.
Nicely.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for stepping up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. I do want to take a moment to again thank you, all of you, for participating in our committee system. It is an integral part of the operation of the city and greatly appreciated. And if there are any people out there who are wondering what to do with all their free time, please go to our website, visit our committee's pages, and see what might interest you. And please do feel free to come join us. We do rely extensively on our participants and very much appreciate it as well. All right, next on our agenda, council announcements. Do we have any council announcements? Councilmember Rogers?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. On Saturday, we had the stream and community cleanup behind the Giant Food in the Free State Mall. Over 1,800 pounds of trash was picked up with over 100 people helping out with that. And that was just in that one area. So just imagine all the other trash that we see out there. So we just thank the community for stepping up. We thank Bowie High School and the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts that came out to really help us. Now, I say us. I didn't stay to pick up trash, but I will next year. But we want to thank everyone for a job well done. So thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much. Let's see, Councilman Brady? Comments? None? Councilwoman Ndebumado? No?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Good evening, District 4 residents and the rest of the city of Bowie. I hope you guys are having a wonderful start to your week. A couple of announcements for me. First of all, I want to apologize that I'm not there with you in person. My stomach is a little bit shaky this evening, so it was better for all of us. Secondly, I just want to share, I have been talking to State Highway. There have been some complaints about trash along the 301 corridor. It looks like more trash is being dumped consistently. And there have been a lot of complaints about trailers being parked, especially along the 301 corridor around South Lake area. So State Highway is on that. I did speak to our liaison so that you will start to see the trash getting picked up shortly. And in terms of the trailer, that's the trailers being parked because it's kind of blocking people's view when they're driving around the corner down that exit. They are looking into that. So thank you so much. And those are the rest of my announcements.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I will double down on the comments made by Councilmember Rogers with regard to the Bowie Stream cleanup. That was fantastic. It obviously ties in nicely with the month we're celebrating. While I did pick up some trash, it wasn't a lot. The others seem to have gotten there before it, but it was fantastic to see all the people out there across the community participating. And it was one of those things when we were, I realized that when this first started, my kids were just little wee ones. And it's an important part of getting not just adults to participate, but also for our children to participate in the community, to have an understanding of how important it is, because there is, as Council Member Ndebu Madu mentioned, so much litter in this county that we really do need to work to keep our corner of it clean. So that's very important work. So thank you all. Next on tonight's agenda is the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council and all the residents out there, and especially the people on Kingswood Drive. The recruiting and hiring is the thing that's really what we're working hard at right now. I think we did some statistics, and the last 3 or 4 years, we probably, had to replace 95 employees or so within the city because people move around a lot. And of course, all of our service delivery is, is all by individuals, conscientious employees who pick up the trash. They're police and the sustainability people out there Saturday morning, working in the stream and doing other things all over the city. So that's one major effort that we have ongoing. So the HR director is getting a lot of work out there. Just for the record, and we replaced 5 department directors in the last year. We hired a new chief of police, a new planning and sustainability director, new community services director, a new public works director, and also we hired a new assistant solid waste division chief, which is really important because our solid waste division is the biggest division we have, with 60 employees that touch base with the residents 4 or 5 times a week. Also, what we've been working really hard at over the last several months is coming up with a proposed 2026 budget for you all at the special meeting that's forthcoming. We've done all the proposals and cross-examinations and falling on their swords for one thing or another. And so I just signed a letter that you'll be getting pretty soon before the proposed budget, so we can have our 6 work sessions here in April and May, and to slug our way through this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. City Managers. Any questions? No? All right. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to approve the consent agenda.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We'll move to the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is our old business, the return of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce grant proposal. We have representatives from the Bowie Chamber and will provide additional information requested from the council for their grant proposal of $25,000. I will start this off with Mr. King. Would you have an introduction?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much. We will turn over the floor to our friends from the chamber.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. For the record, Darrell Carrington here on behalf of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce, and it's wonderful to be with you all this evening. We really appreciate the opportunity to come back before you again. We thank you for the chance to work with your city staff, and they've done a great job of ensuring that the questions that you had asked at the last hearing were addressed and answered. I'm going to actually turn this over to the brains of the operation, as you all know, who is Ms. Patricia Watson. I would like us to take a moment, though, to congratulate Ms. Watson. She was recently named by the Daily Record as one of the top 100 women in Maryland. Give it up. Give it up. Thank you all for indulging me on that. And without further ado, I'm going to turn over to the person who has done a great job at making sure we're pulling together all the documents and leading the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce in a great direction for our future.
Wowzers. Good evening. My name is Patricia Watson, and I have the honor of coming before the esteemed council and community members again as Associate Director of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to provide a brief but important update on our current financial state, and as well as introduce our grant proposal and address any questions that you may or may not have. Carrington and Associates, as you know, officially assumed the executive director role on September 1st of 2024 during a time when numerous staff turnovers hindered the growth and stability of the chamber, thus limiting our impact on the community. Since stepping in, our team has taken strong and deliberate actions to clean up outdated records, reconcile accounts, and establish responsible financial practices. We have completed the most financial audit, which is in your packet, your agenda packets, and it outlines some of the key highlights of the review include consistent revenue sources. We have successfully completed some ongoing membership dues. We added new silver sponsors, and event revenue have kept our operations steady. Strategic cost management, we reduced unnecessary expenditures and realigned programming for efficient and community impact. Improved financial controls, we've implemented monthly reconciliations, board-level oversight, and documentation protocols for all expenses. These corrective actions reflect our dedication to ethical stewardship of funds, building trust with our stakeholders, and ensuring we are financially prepared to take on the greater responsibility within the city of Bowie. For our grant proposal summary, in alignment with our improved financial standing, we presented a 26-page grant proposal that outlines how the chamber plans to expand our services, fill critical operation gaps in the city's business support infrastructure, and create a more inclusive and sustainable local economy. This proposal seeks funding to expand the chamber's capacity to serve as a vital connector, resource hub, and advocate for local businesses, especially small, minority-owned, and emerging enterprises. Our goal is to help businesses recover, grow, and thrive while still addressing broader community needs like employment, youth development, and civic engagement. Our key focus areas are business development and support, provide year-long workshops, mentorships, and technical assistance, host networking and matchmaking events to connect businesses with customers and capital, launch a business resource navigator, an initiative to guide local entrepreneurs through processes like permitting, licensing, and accessing city programs, which will work alongside with the city, workforce development and job readiness, partner with local schools, colleges, and training programs to create pathways to employment, host job fairs and career exploration events targeting Bowie youth and residents, offer resume writing help, interview prep, and job placement support. For the youth entrepreneur and leadership, create a young entrepreneurs program. We had one before, I'm not sure what year that was, but we did have one before, and bring that back to teach youth how to start and manage businesses, host pitch competitions and innovative challenges in collaboration with local schools and organizations, community engagement and equity, implement target outreach to underserved areas and underrepresented entrepreneurs, increase civic engagement through community forums, advocacy training, and voter education. In closing, this moment marks a turning point for the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce with renewed leadership, a firm financial foundation, and a clear roadmap for impact. We are poised to deliver the support our businesses and residents need both now and into the future. Thank you for your continued partnership and consideration of our proposal. We're ready to do the work.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any comment from staff, or are you good? We're good on the staff side. All right, thank you very much. Please don't go away yet. I want to turn to my colleagues here and see if we have anybody with any questions. Mr. Stav, anybody? No. Councilman Brady.
First, this is an item eligible action. Has anyone signed up to speak?
I will check and see. Nobody's,
Okay.
is there anybody?
No.
Nobody's checked.
Okay, because if there were, I'd like to hear them first. Thank you for the presentation, for the information. I do have a few questions, and it's really along the lines of out of curiosity. You're looking to build basically a directory to help the businesses in Bowie to be found by and utilized by residents and patrons, correct? Because that's what.
And thank you, Councilmember Brady. That's a great question. And as we were talking, the work that we do with Mr. Henry King, we realized that we have to have better business-to-business coordination. We can't let our businesses be the best kept secrets because people don't know where they are or know how to locate them. We really are looking forward to using technology and moving forward in a new day. You know that we're not printing out the directories that we used to do. Remember, 2-year directories that we've done, back in 2006 and the like, those are antiquated at this particular point in time. And so this will become more of a living document that we can easily share as well. And then we can work with the Bowie BIC and work with Mr. Henry. And, so these are ways in which we're going to try to be more innovative in terms of creating this directory and also making sure people can identify small minority business, veterans-owned businesses. As you know, Prince George's County is home to more veterans than any other place in the state of Maryland. So, we're tapped in and we're, in a partnership now with with the Prince George's County Department of Veteran Services. So these are all exciting things that we're going to do and we're going to build into the directory. So it's not just businesses, but it's for consumers, for our residents, and of course for our businesses. And also business to business is very important as well. So,
Well, thank you for that clarification.
Absolutely.
But it leads into my real question was, what metric are we going to use for success? Let me finish, is it going to be expanded business opportunities, increased growth in their sales and what have you? Or is it tied to, in any way, increasing the membership of the chamber? Because the numbers you have in your report are really small.
The answer to your question is yes. No, I mean, I'm not being, but it's absolutely, it's each and every one of those things. I say to the business community, as I've been going around over the past several months at ribbon cuttings and the like, my job is to be the cheerleader for the business community. My job is to make sure they succeed. Our job is to make sure that we retain the businesses that we have now and then go and attract new businesses. We've been talking with other counties as well and other chambers about doing MOUs so that we establish regional partnerships, because what's good for our area, what's good for the DMV, what's good is good for all of us. And so we're looking at things like that. We're also keeping our eye on the FBI relocation and the chatter that's been around that, because that is a huge $1.2 billion just in infrastructure investment, let alone, of course, the trillions of dollars that will be necessary to actually build, and then, of course, the residual income that comes from it. So we are laser focused on using this to increase business, to increase our membership, and to that end, we were very fortunate. One of our board members recently was able, and I think working with Mr. King, to get a 4,000 line item database of different businesses that we weren't aware of in the region. And so, as you can imagine, that's a pretty big document. So, we're going through that systematically, but we're trying to do it in a way in which, we're looking at them by sectors and the like, and then trying to bring them in and also letting them know, like, hey, we don't have an insurance agent, or we don't have this, and trying to make sure that they know that, hey, this whole audience available to you. And obviously, it's going to take us a couple of years to be able to do this. I look at it, using a sports analogy. When we first come in, you're bringing me in as the head coach. Well, I'm going to have to draft some players. I'm going to have to use my playbook. And so we are right now attempting to rebuild this franchise and win a championship for you. But we're going to do it with our players, we're going to do it with our playbook, and we're going to win. And so that is what we're doing, Councilman. And we really appreciate that insightful question because that gets at the heart of what we're trying to do.
Okay. And the last question, at the very beginning of your proposal, you talk about the money, the grant from the city is matched with somebody else's grant? Or,
and Tricia will take
but there's no discussion of that. So, and your numbers that you put relative to your financial position show not a good position.
Well, which is why, of course, we're looking for the additional funding because, as we come in, as you know, we only took over September 1st.
Right.
And so we've gotten our hands around a lot of things. We know where the holes are in the lake. We're plugging those things. We need to be able to chart a future so that we're going to plan for 2026 as well.
Right.
And make sure that we try to get ourselves to where, as you remember, sir, we were the premier chamber in the entire region. Right. And we're looking forward to trying to getting back there, but we're going to need, obviously, stability in our operations to be able to achieve that.
But you do have a second grant that matches ours?
No. We are using our own funds as matching for your grant.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Any other questions, thoughts? Councilwoman Ndebamadu, anything from you? I will take that as a no. All right. I do have a couple of things of my own that I want to chat about. I am a little concerned about where you guys are financially. I know you've been through a lot and you're coming in with a mop and a broom and trying to clean up and do that as quickly as you can. However, I do have some concerns, and I took a look at the proposal and some of the thoughts I wanted to share with you. Have some opportunity for a little dialogue here as well. I see that you have a web developer for about 15 grand as a proposed expense, which makes sense to have somebody to do that for you. I don't expect that you have that resource necessarily on hand. The administrative aspects of it, I'm a little concerned. I know that you guys are already in a position for taking care of administrative matters as it is right now. It's also a bit fungible and a little bit difficult for us to manage against. The website fees at about $5 grand seem to come in a little high for me. I think there are probably a GoDaddy solution, even with a virtual private server, using WordPress or something along those lines, that you're really talking about maybe $17, $18, $20 a month for that, and which would yield, probably a couple $100 for that over the course of a year, or $250 or something along those lines. The advertising, I think, definitely a need for that. There needs to be some promotion for this endeavor and to bring things in today's world. I noticed that you mentioned you were going to use both traditional and digital marketing. I suspect that digital will be more prominent or prevalent anyway. And then the miscellaneous makes me nervous as well. We do, at least I want to. Personally, I'm in favor of supporting the request, but I do have a little bit of concerns about how it's structured. And if my colleagues are in consensus with this, maybe we can work to this end, which is instead of incorporating the things like the administrative and miscellaneous expenses and things along those lines, that we put ourselves in a position where we support this endeavor on behalf of the city residents for the web development aspects of it. You have a $15,000 expected cost for that. And on the same thing on the advertising, which is a $10,000 expense, which would bring things into 25, which is what you were looking for from the get-go. But then at that point, we'd be in a position to kind of manage the administrative aspects a bit more easily. And that we could be in a position where you could say, hey, here's some initial money up front, and then, submit your receipts, and then we'll reimburse you for those paid. And that makes it a lot easier for managing on the staff side for us in terms of how that would, handle the ongoing oversight. It makes it a lot easier from that respect. And then I know that, as you said, you can have your own funds, and you can use your own funds for those other administrative expenses and things along those lines. The matching 25 would come to support that. Is that something that makes a reasonable?
And thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Excellent suggestions. However, my concerns will be in terms of, I don't know that we can make the expenditure to hire the person and then provide, we may not have enough in the treasury to do that up front. And so being reimbursed was not something that we contemplated as we were doing the proposal. That just wasn't something that we contemplated. And then, of course, understanding the realistic situation with the budget and the like. I do not want to say that we can do something that I know that the Treasury wouldn't allow, and then this wouldn't be successful. So that is the only reason why that would be difficult, I think, for us to be able to administer and manage in that respect, because we would then be struggling in terms of being able, because I would like to be able to get the project started and like be able to, make the expenditure.
I think we have a solution for that. I think we can jumpstart it, put out, however
half or something like it, just so that we get,
figure out a couple thousand, $5,000, whatever it might be to start things off, and then we can work through on the reimbursement basis after that. That's me speaking here. I have not yet heard from my colleagues yet if that's something that they'd be comfortable with. But in my mind, I think that helps make it easier for the management of it, and keeps it fairly transparent where our money is going. And that's what I will leave for open discussion with my colleagues. Anybody have any thoughts of that on the council?
Sorry, I appreciate the discussion. I just want to start by acknowledging, I know how absolutely rough of a time it is for businesses of all sizes right now, but in particular small businesses. Not to get overly into current events, but if today's day on the market is any indication, in the next couple of years, it's going to continue to be an incredibly difficult environment. So I'm glad that we're having these conversations. I know this is one of many talks that we're having on the City Council about how we can work with the business community. I like Councilmember Wolfley's suggestion because I think it just keeps it clean and straightforward as far as being able to account to folks exactly, where this money is going and what it's doing and what it's achieving. I genuinely have mixed feelings about business directories. I know we've looked at, we've explored, possibilities in the past of what that might look like. And I've gotten mixed feedback from, members of, the business community locally about what they're actually seeing and what their challenges are. And directories usually aren't top of their list of solutions that they're necessarily interested in. I get why the chamber is interested in it because you guys, are the spokespersons for, our business community here. So I appreciate that this is a project that you have selected to take on. That's just where I am. I'm open to Councilmember Wolfley's suggestion, and I look forward to continue to hearing more ideas in the coming months and years as well as we look to find ways to navigate these incredibly rough waters we're in. I appreciate what you do.
And thank you for those comments, Councilmember Esteva. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's all hands on deck, quite frankly. And so we haven't had these things. I mean, as you know, I've been a member of the chamber for many years, and I have seen the things that we used to do in the past when, Kelly Pierce was the chair. I mean, when Doug Peters was we used to rock and roll, and we had the directories that we put out every 2 years, and we had events regularly, and we were engaging the business community. We were relevant. We made sure we brought our elected officials out and the like, and I am very proud to say that we have been doing those things, since, I guess October when we did our trunk or treat with the city police. And we're looking forward to doing that again next year. And we expect to see all of you out because we didn't see you guys out this year. I'm holding you to it. It's, by the way, Halloween is the same day every year. So you guys can mark your calendar, save the date. It's a fun time. We do it with the police. BG&E brings out the big trucks and all of that. We have, music and the like. And so these are the things that we need to do. I mean, to build community spirit, and and again, to make people know that this is the place that you want to locate your business. This is a place that you want to live. This is just, and we know Bowie is without a doubt we're like a magic bubble. I mean, this is the greatest place to be. People live here for decades and decades and decades. You sell your house, you get 10% over the asking price within a couple of days because this is a great community. But our business community really needs a shot in the arm. It needs a voice. And it needs a cheerleader. And so we are going to do that for us. And I'm looking forward to the coordination with city staff, especially working with John Henry King and the Economic Development Committee that you all have. And I know Andrew Rild is waiting behind me right now. So if I take too much longer, I can feel the eyes burning in my back right now. So anyway, we are really excited about the opportunity of doing this. And again, I don't know exactly your legislative process, but however you want to prove it and make it, however you want to do that, we're willing to, obviously work with you and staff to achieve that goal.
Excellent. Any other follow-up questions?
Yes.
Mr. Truesdale, Councilmember Truesdale.
Yeah, it's more of a statement than a question in terms of, first of all, thank you for your proposal. I went over your proposal and we stood here just a month or so ago and asked questions and concerning, itemizing expenses and getting more detail. And I know that there has been a change in administration. One of my concerns is that, I would love to see the chamber back the way it was. And there's a lot of small business. Speaking from a small business entrepreneur and having a business in the city, and I know the importance of the chambers. And in 2013, one of our businesses, my business was awarded, from Mayor Robertson and council there, to where it acknowledged the businesses. It gave light, in terms of how many businesses are operating now, is a big, is a big question, is a big concern. How do we look at the not only today, but 5 months from now or 2 years from now? What are your projections? Do you have any projections that will relate to that?
Well, and I thank you for that question, Councilman Truesdale. As you and I have had conversations about, all right, how do I build foot traffic in Old Town Bowie? Maybe I can get, we talked about the concept of having a barber school and where you can also do some rental space so that individual folks can then rent space from the place. And of course, then if you have people regularly going there for school and also of service, then maybe someone goes, hey, maybe I can get the guy from Bowie Town, the guy over PJP to do a second location over in Bowie because now people need coffee. And as we grow that and continue to grow that, that's how we are going to increase the traffic. Your points are valid. I mean, what are we doing to attract and retain? And so we are not going to come up with every solution through this one effort, but we have to start building back, being consistent, and having things that people can rely on. We have not had those things consistently over the last several years. We are hoping that through this effort, and hopefully this is not the only support that the city would be willing to help us with, because this has to be a partnership to rebuild ourselves together over the next couple of years and then make this a self-sustaining juggernaut. But it does take time, and as I used in the sports analogy, very few coaches are able to come in and take a team that was 1-12 and win a championship. It's going to take a couple of years.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilmember Truesdale. Councilmember Ndebumadu, any thoughts or questions? I'll take that as a no. All right, then. I will be, there's no one signed up to speak. It's eligible for action. Is there a motion on the floor to be made?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. I would make a motion to support this request for $25,000 grant. I would suggest also that we include the two requirements that you referenced in your comments with regards to how it's spent and basically the reporting requirements and what have you. And I hope this will match other funds in order to basically make it stronger and worth more than just the $25,000 the city's giving. And I hope it's the start of the rebound. You know, pendulum goes back and forth. I remember when the chamber was very active, rather robust. And if I recall correctly, they used to do the annual awards. They paired up with the Bowie Blade and John Rouse, and they packed, was a Free State, that whole area for a gala. And I think that's the vision that we want to go back to. It's going to take some time and some work, but I would move that we support this request with the caveats that we've specified in order to move forward on this.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to open up for discussion on the motion before the vote. I'll start off with a quick question. Speak to staff, specifically Mr. King, City Manager, if you have adequate information or if you have a preferred path forward for moving this along so that we're on the straight and narrow.
Mayor Pro Tem, I think we understand it. What I understand is that if you all approve this, then we'll talk with Mr. Carrington and determine how much of an advance is necessary. And, you know, something based on, you know, somewhere between $5,000 and $7,500 to get started, unless he can demonstrate more than that. And then afterwards, we'll reimburse based on the results.
Very good. Would you like to work on drafting an agreement up for us to revisit? Do you think that's in order?
Well, I'm not sure that's necessary, sir, at this point. If you put those stipulations in the motion, we can take it from there.
All right, fair enough. All right, so the motion's been made, it's been seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Aye, aye. All opposed? All right, we're unanimous. Thank you very much.
And thank you all for your support. We appreciate it.
I'm not bringing this back.
All right, next item on our agenda for this evening. We have the new business, auditor's presentation of the FY 2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Good evening, Mr. Matthews. Good evening, Mr. Matthews. How are you?
Good evening, sir.
I love it when you come because you bear nothing but good news on such occasions.
Well, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I'm joined this evening by my assistant, Lola Ogunremi, and along with Aries Coleman, the Director of Engagement for Clifton Larson Allen. She is here tonight to give you the results of the FY 24 financial audit. And with that, I'll just bring her to the forefront and she'll go over the presentation she has.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Are we good? All right. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and the council members, and thank you for allowing me to present the City of Bowie's 2024 financial results for the annual comprehensive financial report. I'm going to take a couple of minutes of your time, have a presentation on the results of the audit, as well as some communications that we are required to make to the council as part of the audit process. The first page is required by our lawyers, and basically what it's stating is that I am not in a position to give legal advice. I'm not giving tax advice. I am presenting the financial results of the audit performed by my firm, the opinion rendered. And so this is just some other information. You're more than welcome to read it, but it's more standard language just to make sure that everyone knows that that I am not getting into the world of taxes or legal advice. All right, for the agenda, a couple of things we're going to talk about is the audit approach. It's based on the rationale that we use to audit the financial numbers for the city of Bowie. The audit results, what we came up with as the final conclusion to our audit, and then some required communications. So our approach, I did see tonight, I think you guys got a copy of the, is that the financials? I like the pictures. So you got a copy of the financials for the city for fiscal year 24. And also just thank very much Myron and Lola. This is a lot of information to condense into this one book. But when you look on this book, it's only 3 pages that belong to my firm, and it's called the Auditor's Opinion. And our opinion is based on it's a reasonable, meaning that we do not audit every number, every financial transaction for the city of Bowie during our audit period. And so our approach is risk-based. Risk-based means we look at changes from year to year. We look at the similar environment for other localities. We talk to management. We look at processes. We do inquire legal representation. And using that information, we determine what are the high-risk areas. If you had the opportunity for risk, what would that be? And that's where we put most of our efforts, and then we take an overall approach, more of an analytical view of the rest of the financial activities. And so when you have here with the risk-based and the communication, those two together gives us an idea of how or what we should be auditing. So the audit results, as I mentioned, I think it's 100 and maybe 20-something pages here. We have 3 pages. And those pages says that as for fiscal year 2024, the city of Bowie has a clean, unmodified opinion. That's the highest level that my firm is able to give on the financial statements. We're not allowed to say there are no errors. We're not allowed to say that everything that the city has done for fiscal year 24 was correct, but we're saying under auditing standards, it's reasonable assurance that you can rely on the financial information that's presented in the financial statements here. The city goes for a GFOA, or Governor Financial Officers Association certificate. And that is another check, more of a checklist of all of the required information that should be presented in the financial statements. The city has obtained the certificate for the last few years. They just submitted it, I think, more than probably a few months ago, and is expected to receive that certificate as well on the 2024 financial statements. A couple other things that we issue along with the opinion. As part of government auditing standards, we have to look at the financial controls around the financial statement numbers. And what we do is give, again, another opinion on the reasonableness that those controls are consistently active throughout the year, and therefore that the information here is reasonably accurate based on those controls around the transactions that creates the financial numbers. We did not identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. Next, I want to go over some required communications that we must make with you as part of governance. As I mentioned, that our audit is done under generally accepted auditing standards. You may hear GAS, and then they're also in accordance with GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles. If you look at the financial statements and you get to the notes, I think it's note maybe 1 or 2, where it's it basically talks about the accounting principles used to actually compile the financial information. That gives you a summary as to when you look at cash, accounts receivables, pension, OPEB notes, as far as in the financial statements. It gives you an idea of how the city measures the financial value of these numbers. When you look at the financial statements, we talk a lot about numbers. There are some numbers we call estimates because they are not a true hard-coded dollar value. They're based on assumptions. The assumptions are used such as for your OPEB plan and even the pension that you guys participate with the state of Maryland. Actuaries use demographics and other actuarial information to determine what the possible outcome of that amount. And so that estimate is used to post in your financial statements, and we audit the assumptions around that estimate. For fiscal year 2024, your OPEB or other post-employment benefit liability, which we call OPEB for short, and then the allowance for doubtful accounts for property taxes. Those two are the most significant and material estimates for the city. We concluded that management had a reasonable basis for significant judgment of these estimates, and we did not have any sensitive information disclosed in the financial statements. We did not, encounter any difficulties with management. There were no disagreements with management. Guess we were good, right? Management is required to give representation to the auditors. And that representation is that all the information that you provided to us was true and accurate to your belief. Nothing has changed since you have provided that information to us that would give us a different conclusion on what we are auditing. And that representation is required in order for us to finalize and release the financial statements. Okay. Couple other communications that management did not consult with any auditors or accountants if they had any questions or concerns or even how to implement a particular sensitive nature. They contacted us and we were the ones who gave them guidance. There was no significant items discussed with management based except for during the normal course that we have consultations and may have questions, and we provide assistance as much as possible. And there were no additional findings. Sometimes we might have management-letter comments, which are best practices. There may be some adjustments that we've asked management if they wanted to make, and management passed on those. There were none for this year. I talked about the uncorrected, and there was no corrected misstatements. And then the financial statements that we have, we call it an ACFR, and that's what's the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. And you will have statistical tables, you have a transmittal letter, and you may have some other information that we do not audit. Our opinion clearly will state that the opinion we're giving is only on the financial statements. And this information we look at in relation to the financial statements, and we make sure it does not disagree with what we have audited and management has presented in the financials. Okay, I want to thank everyone again, and I will take any questions.
Thank you very much. Very much appreciate your being here this evening and sharing with us. I'll turn to my colleagues first and see if anybody has any comments or questions. Listen. Mr. Estev?
So really appreciate the presentation. So I just want to say bottom line, things we have identified are being corrected, otherwise clean bill of health.
Yes.
Okay, and I just want to say a word of thanks to all of our city personnel. I hear it from other towns, I hear it from stakeholders in the business community, that Bowie continues to really set an extremely high bar in local management, both in terms of fiscal policy and personnel. You guys really raised the standards in the 10 years I've been on the city council. I've never not been grateful that this is the town that I get to serve, because we do truly have a wonderful personnel and a culture that is the envy of so many local governments. And I thank you for maintaining that culture.
Thank you, Councilmember Estev. Anybody else? Councilmember Ndebamadu, anything from you? All right, hearing nothing, I will close things out and extend my gratitude as well on behalf of the council and the people of the city as well. I want to comment on two things. First of all, your good works for coming in here and reviewing. A lot of time when auditors come in, it gets a little contentious. My understanding is that you and your organization are good to work with, so very much appreciate good offices and the work you've done for us. And I do also want to thank Mr. Matthews and Ms. Ogunremi as well for the outstanding work, because I know it takes a lot of effort every year to answer the questions, provide the documentation. So getting through that process, that's part A and part B. But really, the number one thing is looking to staff again. Mr. Matthews, you and your team have done an outstanding job maintaining the integrity of our financial controls, and very much appreciate the work that you have done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to point one thing out that of particular. I mean, I know we will always do well in the audit. This time, Mr. Matthews got along so well with the auditors. I think we should note that.
Yes.
And give him credit for that.
Indeed. Thank you so very much. Thank you for coming in. You're almost beginning to enjoy this, right? It's quite the double whammy you run. That's right. All this in tandem while you're preparing the budget. So, idle hands, I'm sure, right? Been busy doing nothing. Thank you very much, Ms. Matthews. All right. Next on the agenda is a preliminary plan of subdivision for Freeway Airport. We'll turn this over to staff for introduction, and then I believe we have the applicant here as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and members of council. My name is Richard Hall, and I'm the Director of Planning and Sustainability for the city. And again, as you mentioned on the agenda, we're here for preliminary plan of subdivision 2024-021 Freeway Airport. So the applicant will speak just after me and get into more detail, but I want to give you an overview and also summarize the findings from the planning board that heard this on the 25th. So the location is on the west side of Church Road, just south of Route 50. It is outside of the city limits. Want to point that out. It currently serves as the Freeway Airport. The applicant is Freeway Realty. What is proposed is 297 single-family detached units on 131.5 acres. The zoning is single-family attached, RSF-A. It's in the Established Communities Growth Policy area in the County 2014 General Plan, and more specifically, is designated for residential medium future land use category in the 2022 Bowie, Mitchellville, and vicinity master plan. So the plan that's focused on this part of the county. I think it's worth pointing out that there was a previous approval for this application, previous approval and previous rendition of it for 109 units with a mix of single family detached and townhomes. So it went from 509 to 297 units. A lot of this, there's a long history of this, but a lot of it was boiled down into an agreement between the applicant and a neighborhood group, and that resulted in covenants. So it's a formal agreement. And so for this reason, as well as the fact, as I mentioned, that the proposal is outside of city limits, staff made no recommendation, but we wanted to bring it to the planning board and obviously city council. And now, if I could, just really want to quickly summarize, and Chair Day of the planning board couldn't make it tonight, but they did discuss this in detail on the 25th. They agreed to the staff report. However, they wanted to add to that that going forward, the planning staff reports include the amount of funds paid into impact fees. That was something discussed pretty extensively at the planning board, and you will probably hear more about this later, but overall for this particular subdivision, there's a total of roughly $9 million in impact fees, $6 million for schools, $1 million for public safety, and there's discussion about some degree how much that was, but there's more discussion, at least on the planning board, was about where that funding goes, the transparency associated with that, and how much of it stays in the Bowie area versus the county. at large. And that's what I have for you this evening, and if I may, I'd like to turn it over to Robert Antonetti and his team.
Thank you. Mr. Antonetti?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. For the record, Robert Antonetti with the law firm of Shipley & Horn. Pleased to be here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Freeway Realty LLC. Today with me, I have Mr. Andrew Roud, regional partner with Freeway. I have Ms. Rachel Leitzinger with Dewberry, the civil engineers of this project. I have Mr. Mike Lenhart, our traffic engineer. And I have Mr. Andrew Shelley with Shipley & Horn, our senior land planner. I'd like to thank Mr. Hall for his presentation and his overview. It was a pleasure to be able to participate in the BAPB proceedings, where we had a robust discussion about the history of this project, which you're all probably somewhat familiar with. It essentially is what was stated in the overview today. It's for a single-family detached only project of 297 dwelling units. There was, as part of the history, there were prior approvals for this project, a preliminary plan of subdivision previously for 509 units, followed by a detailed site plan for infrastructure for the same number of units. It included a mix of townhouse and single-family detached. Also, as part of the past history, there was appeals associated with those approvals and some of the underlying zoning associated with the previously with the property. That ended up in the appellate courts, namely the Maryland Supreme Court, which ultimately upheld that prior zoning and prior zoning action relative to those prior approvals. There was also the 2022 Bowie and Vicinity Master Plan, which took the land use designation for this property and designated it appropriate for a residential medium. That happened and was in 2022. After that, there was an opportunity to discuss the project with the citizens, the main organized group, the concerned citizens that were opposed to the prior proposal, which included a large number of townhouse units, including single-family detached and a higher density. There was a robust discussion about finding a consensus, and such a consensus was found in terms of what this site could develop and redevelop as. That led to an agreement and a formal covenant recorded against the property, which states that the only residential development that can be developed on this property is single-family detached units, that it cannot exceed 297 dwelling units, that no townhouses will be developed on this property. So that is really the application you see before you today, is the byproduct of that compromise and consensus and moving forward with the project. Subsequently, the property was rezoned as part of the Bowie, Mitchellville, and Vicinity Sectional Map Amendment to the RSFA zone under the current zoning ordinance. This application is being evaluated under the new zoning ordinance and new subdivision regulations. And I say new, it's the current, but it's it really became effective in April 1st, 2022. So we're one of the first projects of consequence kind of in the planning area using the new regulations. And this is the first application to come under those regulations. Again, it reflects the agreement with the concerned citizens, and it is a single-family detached project only. We do have a slideshow here showing kind of what it'll look like. If Rachel, if you wouldn't mind moving to the first slide. So here are the existing conditions. I'm sure you're all available with the Freeway Airport. It is outside the city limits, but it is right off of Church Road, south of US 50, to the west of, to the east of the Pepco power line right away, which you can see in this picture here. It's partially cleared. It is improved with a significant runway and other ordinances relative to the operations of a general aviation airport. It is still open. It is still operating flights in and out. In fact, we had a community meeting where we. Oh, am I on the clock? No.
Nope, you're
Okay.
good.
Okay. I can be more brief. I promise.
No, you're fine. No, that was my watch going off for some unknown reason.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it could be. I better hurry this up. It does have a history. This property was developed as an airport formally in the 1960s. It was primarily rural and agricultural around it. Over time, it has redeveloped with a significant number of suburban development to the north, south, east, and west. So it's time. There was an accident, not too long ago, several years ago, I guess, and it has a long accident history. It's no longer a compatible use. In fact, it is operating as a legal non-conforming use because its underlying zoning, even prior to the rezoning to the RSFA zone, didn't allow a general aviation airport. So that being said, the family did approach the applicant to find a way to work together to repurpose and redevelop the site. And again, through the long history, brings us to the application tonight. So here's the existing conditions. Here's what's proposed here. And what you'll see here is a layout of 297 single-family detached units. The property will retain a significant amount of existing woodland. It is, also significantly cleared. The property through this development will have about 41% of the land area in open space, either in woodland condition or general open space. And that includes areas, that does not include the lots or the streets. That's 41% of everything else but the lotting pattern and street network that you have here. About 44 acres of woodland conservation will be provided here, and that'll be a combination of afforestation, reforestation, planting within the primary management area of PMA, and essentially 10 acres more than what the requirement is under current regulations. The access to this property will be at 2 access points along Church Road. The northernmost access point will be a right-in, right-out. The southernmost access point will be the main entrance, which will have a full signal along Church Road operational as part of this proposal. And just go to the next slide, we can here. As part of this development, again, this is the preliminary plan, which shows the lotting pattern, kind of the public facilities testing. But it also shows the locations of recreational amenities. Here you have basically in the south, you have an open space area for program for like a playground and other items similar to that. To the north, you have a kind of a green area with a gazebo and some other things programmatically that we're considering. And then what's in kind of the teal green loop there, that's a 10-foot shared use path that will be a private amenity through the project, both in the north and to the south. Coupled with the purple, which is 5-foot sidewalks on both sides of the streets, you're probably looking at over 6 miles of trail pedestrian circulation throughout the site, which I think will be a kind of a wonderful amenity for this future community. It is all single-family detached, so every property will have its own backyard, and coupled with these kind of recreational amenities. The details for the houses, the architecture, all those will be done at time of detailed site plan, which is something that will be required. In fact, there'll probably be several detailed site plans, probably initially for infrastructure to reflect this lotting pattern if we're fortunate enough to be approved with this preliminary plan of subdivision, followed by architecture for the building and other details that you'd see in a full detailed site plan. So that's to come. We look forward to bringing that back to you for your consideration. If we can go to the next slide, please. Here's a zoomed-in image of the frontage improvements, and on the right, and to the left is kind of the main circulation pattern proximate to the property. Going to the right, you'll see that there are widening along Church Road. You'll see where the sign is for the full movement signal. The project has been studied. It did have a traffic study. It has passed all the tests for adequacy. In fact, a certificate of adequacy has been issued in this case by the planning director, showing that the required levels of service have been met for all unsignalized and signalized intersections. But nonetheless, we did do a signal warrant study for the main entrance. A signal warrant was eligible for a signal, and the county has indicated that they would support the installation of a signal along Church Road. As part of the widening, we're going to have heading northbound, we'll have a through lane on Church Road. We'll also have a left turn lane at the signal going into the main entrance. We did do a queuing analysis as part of our traffic study to show that during the signalization, a full stop along Church Road, that there will be ample space for cars to queue to make that left turn, that it will not block the adjacent street to the community further to the east, which was a discussion point at our community meeting where that was a concern. So we did look at that, and we do have adequate clearance during the cycling of that light. Heading southbound, you get to see an acceleration, deceleration lane, including a through lane, dealing with both the entrance to the north, which is a right in, right out only, as well as a turn into the project at the main entrance with the future signal. So with that, is that our last slide for this tonight? So with that, we do appreciate your consideration of this application. Again, we thank Mr. Hall and his analysis, the BAPB's recommendation. I would encourage you to recommend support, but in the absence of that being outside the city, if you took no position, we certainly would leave that to your discretion. But we do appreciate the opportunity to present to you tonight. If you have any questions of myself or the team, we do our best to answer it. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being here this evening. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody sign up to speak?
No, Mayor Pro Tem, there was no public hearing advertised for this item.
Okay, thank you. Let's turn to my colleagues then, and we will start. Anybody have any questions? Councilmember Rogers.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for your presentation, and thank you for coming. So as someone that lives right off of Church Road near there, I just need a little bit more clarity. Can I just point a minute?
Sure.
Where is that? Am I looking at it going north?
Yes.
Okay, and if I come down here, then I am at that.
Dawn Whistle Way.
Say that again?
Dawn Whistle Way is the street.
Okay, Dawn Whistle Way, so I'm further down this way. Okay, so there'll be a traffic light up there. All right, that's what I needed to clarify, because one of the biggest concerns within where I live is right now we deal with a lot of traffic coming up and down Church Road. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows that when Church Road gets to certain points, it becomes narrow. And as you're trying to make a left-hand turn out of the Woodmore Highlands subdivision, it becomes an issue. But to have the traffic stop further down, and there's two lights then. It'll be the light there and the light further down Fairwood Parkway before you go around the curve.
Correct.
All right, so that will help manage traffic coming from that direction. Coming from that direction, so that helps out a lot. All right, thank you. I just needed clarification.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Rogers. Councilmember Truesdale.
Thank you, Councilmember Estelle, for letting me go before you. I just want to say thank you for your presentation. Thank you for coming out tonight. I know it has been, 5 long years, and prior to this council even being on board, I like to thank also the community, the residents of Bowie, even though it's outside of our limits, but it impacts us, as a neighboring Fairview that goes through. And so I just want to give my, recognition of support, even though it's unofficial, but for the most part, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Councilman Brady.
Sorry, Councilman Steve. I guess you're going last. Let me start off by commending you on not only the presentation tonight, but the work that you've done with the citizens group. And it's always easier when we have a proposal that isn't very contentious. Now, there's still some disagreements and still some concerns among the folk, but I think you reached out and you worked with them and found a middle ground that is beneficial to all, so I want to commend you on that. A couple of questions. It seems that on page 77 of our, I don't know what it is on your application, in reference to the 1,188 parking spots. And I was sitting there trying to figure out, where are you going to put 188 parking spots? But it seems like you're counting the two-car garage as 2 spots and the two-car driveway as 2 spots, which seems to be double counting.
Well, the 2 garage spaces inside the garage and then two in the driveway is the potential for it. So, I mean, the reality that what we didn't count and didn't include in that number was the on-street parking. These will be all public streets, so on-street parking is possible as well. But we want to show on site what was possible.
But you know, I'm looking at it thinking, putting my engineering hat on and saying, well, there's a 2-car garage. Why is there an additional 2 cars parking spots considered? But it just seems it's the way regulators work, right?
Right.
But I thank you for that. I was pleased to see that in this proposal, the traffic light at the entrance. And pleasantly surprised that your analysis came out, because the number of housing units I wouldn't have thought would have supported it, but you passed in your report, it said pass warrant number 2, which is it's going to be a beneficial application in that spot. With regards to the right in, right out, from what it looks like on there, it looks like just a small triangular space in the median.
Yep.
And I see many, many people come up to something like that and say, huh, the heck with it, I'm turning left anyways. Is there any way to kind of expand that to where it kind of forces the driver to go right and they come out of the, which would require channelization, I understand that.
Right. Can I defer to Mr. Lenhart to maybe weigh in on that?
Yes. Right.
There's ways you can tweak the design a little bit. So that's something we can work with.
Okay. And I would, part of my concerns goes back to where the old Giant was in Collington Station. When you come out by where the bank used to be, there was a little triangle there.
Mm-hmm.
And initially people would cut over to try and catch the left turn light at Excalibur. And there was a fatality. A teacher at Point Ridge Elementary School was killed because somebody doing that move. So the state highways brought the channelization back, but didn't overlap it. And they used to have the little cones or bollards.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken them down, and now I'm starting to see cars that stop and wait till the traffic is just right where they can shoot across. So I think we need to look at doing something that would impede that urge on the part of the residents. So I appreciate you looking at that. Are you responsible for that section of Church Road as far as improvements in front of your frontage on there? So you'll be doing some upgrade of the traffic of the road surface.
We'll be widening the road. We'll be adding the turn lane movements. We'll be adding on our side of the road. But there'll also be a 10-foot shared use path along the whole frontage of our sideway in accordance with the master plan. So that'll be a feature added as well.
Are you required to or intending to put street trees along Church Road? Because it doesn't appear in your plan.
Within the right of way? Yeah. I believe all street tree and lighting requirements will be met along the frontage, yes.
Okay. Driving warrant, trees. And I know the reference in the report about you're going to have to do some regrading because the grading for the airport doesn't meet the requirements for grading for the home. Is that correct, or to that extent?
Well, there will be significant grading done, one to raise and remove the facilities that are there now, and then to bring the property to grade to site the houses properly to allow them to be.
Right.
Yes.
Are there any brownfield issues with regards to the runway or the use of the hangars for many years of working on airplanes and what have you? Are there any toxicities or chemicals?
That had come, that had,
I wouldn't expect it, but
no, there isn't anything related to the operation of the airport that we're aware of. And anything that would be cited there, I believe there's one area that maybe had some fueling tanks that were underground that will be removed and remediated appropriately. But other than that, we'll handle all things in the field appropriately according to regulation.
okay, let me check my list of questions. That does it for me. I thank you very much. And again, thank you for coming forward with this proposal and working with the community.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilman Brady. Councilman Stev.
Just want to say thank you to the residents who I know have been very engaged on this. Thank you to all the folks who've been working on this project. I know 5 years and multiple lawsuits and lots of agreements. 10 years ago, nobody complained to me about housing affordability in Bowie, but now I hear about housing affordability all the time. And it needs to be said more often at these meetings that projects like this, which drag on forever and suffer from constant opposition to new housing, is why housing is so expensive in this part of the country as well as in much of the rest of the world right now. You've answered all our questions. I just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say thank you for engaging with your residential neighbors on this. And I look forward to this coming online and giving us some much needed housing in a part of the country where we are suffering from a tremendous lack of it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Stev. Councilwoman Ndebumadu, do you have any thoughts, questions, input? Hearing none, Councilmember Rogers.
I have one additional question, and it kind of triggered in my mind when Councilman Brady made his comments. That stretch of the road between when you're going south before you get to Woodmore Highlands, I find that there's a lot of speeding going on. We have the cameras down at the other end that slows things down. And I bring that up because putting a light out when traffic signal, when the one went out down the road at Fairview, they put up the traffic signal because a young man was killed trying to cross the street. Traffic still zooms, and they even come around on the side of the road to get past to go south on Church Road. So I don't know during your permitting or whatever you have to do with the county, whether or not they're going to look at the speed limit and whether or not you will offer at that turn signal, that traffic signal, I'm sorry, whether or not you'll offer the pedestrian opportunity to cross. I'm not sure if that's how you're going to build out or if you're only building out on one side of the road, because I'm concerned that the same thing may happen further up the road.
Could I have Mr. Lenhart address that?
Certainly. So there's nothing on the other side of the street from our entrance, so there shouldn't be significant demand for pedestrian crossing there. If DPI requires us to install it, we will install pedestrian crosswalks there, depending on the availability of crosswalks and sidewalks on the other side of the roads.
That would only be my concern, that the speed, because we know the speed limit is 35, but anytime you give folks 2 lanes, 4 lanes going across, they feel like they should be going 50. And so I just become concerned about, cars zooming up in that area. So when you do have those conversations, I guess it's best to reevaluate the speed for that area as well. That's all. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And we're open to that, discussing that, certainly with DPI as the signal's designed and ultimately installed.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I will share a few comments. First of all, I can't see him at the moment. If I could, Mr. Rowd, I want to extend a thank you to you and your team collectively, but to you in particular, for working so well with the community. I know that this has been a contentious issue for quite a number of years, and we have representatives here from the community as well. And not everyone gets what they want all the time, but I think in this case, we, after the circuitous route all the way up and back. There was, notwithstanding the result, there was still a willingness on your part to compromise and to try and take into consideration the needs and concerns of the community. So that is duly noted and very much appreciated. And I do think that even if the folks that would rather see nothing but trees in a landing strip there still recognize that we're better than the quote worst case scenario from their perspective. So thank you very much for that, and I think also to the members of the community who participated throughout the life of this effort. Thank you for your participation as well, because it does make the community a better place. It reflects the interests of the community, and that is a good thing to have in the area. So thank you very much for your efforts as well. With all that having been said, I will look for a motion. It's just outside. It'd be, yeah. It's outside, so there's no district.
So sorry. Does this call for a motion? Or is this eligible for action, or is this just information?
No call for a vote? All right.
No, sir, this is not for action on your part.
All right.
Okay.
Well, then, thank you very much. That makes it even easier, so you don't have to worry about who has to make the motion. Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate it. And,
all right.
Best wishes for all the participants here. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda, which is eligible for action, is the Pointer Ridge Swim and Racquet Club grant request. Do we have somebody from staff introducing, or are we going directly to the applicants?
Mayor Pro Tem, I believe we have a couple of representatives from the Pointer Ridge Swim Club here.
I have to admit, I was quite nervous when I first came in because all these people were here.
Yeah, they're all for you.
Now it's just my group, so I feel a little more comfortable. My name's Joe Hines. I'm from the Pointer Ridge Pool, and we're here to request a municipal grant. So here we have Stacy and Brenda. Stacy's the president of the pool, and Brenda basically handles almost all the overall construction and maintenance and making sure we're all doing our job. Make it said here. So obviously, everybody knows what Pointer Ridge Pool is. Been in the community for over 50 years. And I thought I just would read a few things, some of the statements from some of our members about how important the community pool is to us, or is to South Bowie. This is the first person. I moved to Pointer Ridge in 1969. We joined the pool at the very beginning. When my daughter Deborah and her husband moved back from Arizona with their 2 children, we had her children join the Pointer Ridge Pool. So that's 3 generations of people using and taking advantage of our pool. This person, Julie, my daughter, said, since I was a member of Pointer Ridge Pool since I was a small child. I'm 22 years old, and I still frequent the pool. Every summer, I remain great friends with my PSR group, and the Pointer Ridge has not only gave me a lifelong friendship, but also provided me a place to grow professionally, because she worked around the pool and things like that. Pointer Ridge truly is my home away from home. We moved to Bowie in 1973 when we decided to join PSR Pool. There was a 2-year waiting list. If we could get back to that would be something. We anticipate our 4th generation of little ones learning to swim and enjoying the facilities at PSR. We've been members for PSR for over 45 years. This is kind of a closer one. We joined the pool in 2009. Some of my favorite moments are the day my son, who was 4, went off the diving board for the very first time, and the patient lifeguard was with him every step of the way. Both kids joined the swim team and had a blast. Our coach is from the swim teams here. We often get together with groups from the pool during the years for events like bingo, Friendsgiving, Christmas gatherings, and more. So you can see how important the pool is to is to the community because it's been around, and we'd like it to obviously continue for another 50 years. Only other thing I'm going to quote is my wife summed it up all very, very well for this with us. We love our pool, and we would like your help. So now on to that. Sorry, I got to shuffle through my papers. We are asking for a grant, which means we're asking for money. And we have 3 things we're looking for. 2 vacuums and filter bags. So what we want to do is we want to get robotic pool pumps to clean the pool. This will obviously help in production, and it will free up the lifeguards to do the other work or more productive work around the pool. The second thing that we would like is an AED, which, Brenda, maybe you could explain a little better than me, but if somebody's having cardiac arrest, apparently the quicker you can give them help, the more chance they have. And so we would like that because we do have a lot of, well, I guess I include myself and the older people now at the pool. But the part that I think that I'm most excited about, because when you're doing pool maintenance, and especially when we were trying to give this pool a rebirth, because we were very close to closing down because membership was low, we turned to self-management. So we poured some of that money back into the pool. But when there's a leak in the pool and you're paying $7,000 extra for pool water, and you just fix the bottom of the pool, it's not that exciting. You try to tell people that, but it doesn't really get them motivated. So I don't know. Have you ever heard that country song? I love this bar. And the guy goes around and tells everybody, type of people that go to the bar. What's kind of nice about our pool is it really cuts across the cross-section of society. I mean, we represent about every group you can possibly have. But I don't know, it's kind of a throwback, I guess, because everybody gets along. I mean, people come there, they enjoy themselves. After the pool closes, the adults hang around, the kids run around and play, and we just play games or board games. It's just nice. And so what I am excited about are the tables. And the reason I'm excited about the tables are when we have one of my favorite events, and you guys should attend, is somebody came up with the idea that we should have a potluck because we couldn't really afford to cater anything. So we said, we'll do a potluck. And everybody would bring food, desserts, and some people really can cook at our pool. And the food's just outstanding. And I think it would be exciting if we had new tables for them to sit on. I think they probably are the original tables. So they could come out and sit down, and we got a good deal on umbrellas, and we could put our new umbrellas in there. And I think just people would be excited to come out and see the new tables. And that seems so kind of simple when you compare it to fixing the bottom of the pool or, plastering something or, the pipes burst and you fix those. So I'm excited about that because I think people will see it and it will really get a buzz. And we've done a good job of starting to beautify the pool after we've gotten the framework built. The pool is repaired and things like that. So I think it would just beautify the pool. I think it would add to membership. And so we would just like for you to approve it, I guess, or whatever the next steps are. I don't know if you have any questions for me or
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, I'll turn to my colleagues and we'll see if anybody has any questions. We'll start over here to my left.
It has to do with the pool, though.
Yeah, all right.
Personal questions.
All kinds of questions. This is a calculus question.
Right.
No. We'll start on the end. Anybody over here? No. Mr. Brandon? No. Yeah.
Sure.
Councilmember Rogers?
Good evening, and thank you for coming to speak with us this evening. I'm excited about the swim and racket club, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So how's your membership? Is it?
When we started out the pool, we had 70. Now our membership just topped it at 150, and now we're about at 140, 145, something. About 140.
And so with 140, you have capacity for a lot more?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I asked that because I live in... Yeah, I live close by. And so I'd love for you guys to be able to kind of tap into where I live and across Central Avenue because you're there.
Right.
And so that was my question was like, what are you thinking about trying to do a little bit more outreach to the rest of the community?
Well, we have tried that. And,
have tried? Okay.
Outreach is hard. probably the best way we can move it in the community if there's a association meeting that we could come and speak to would be the best way. And of course, a lot of the subdivisions have pools themselves.
Yeah, we don't.
You don't. But even if you have a pool, we have a swim team, and it does introduce you into the larger community. And so so if we could get people to even come through the door, we usually have a fairly decent close right they can see it. I guess the thing with us is I'll bring this up is signage. If we could get signage along Pointer Ridge Drive would really help. And we have a sign out there now that supposedly we can't replace. Mitchellville Road.
I see, right, I see it on Mitchellville.
That's why I need her. That Mitchellville sign can't, if it comes down, we can't replace it, or we can't upgrade it or anything like that. And apparently it's some zoning reason or something like that.
I've made note of that. Maybe our county council person can help out a little bit.
Sure, thank you.
But I want to see any amenity in the city of Bowie be successful. And I know that even in my 25 years of living in Bowie, I have not taken advantage of all the amenities. And the thing is, if the word is out and we share it, and I think that you're starting down that path, you know that you need an investment. So therefore, you're trying to get the word out so you can bring in more members.
And then, yes, if we are approved for this, it does free up money for other things.
Yes.
So which does help. So, there's been some things throughout the years that just kind of broke for us. So, I mean, this would be a big break for us, which we would be able to free up money to do other things, to beautify the pool or do outreach. Like I would like to get one of those blow up things right out there at the entrance that waves around, but it's $300, $300. So, when do you buy the balloony thing or do you fix the bottom of the pool? So that's kind of where we are now.
Right, so it's easier for you all as far as your grant is concerned because your outputs, your critical performance indicators are tangible. You know, it's things that you're actually going to do and we're going to be able to see it. So I just appreciate your commitment.
Right.
And I think what you're asking for is reasonable, and I think it's a great way to move the swimming racket club forward. So thank you.
Well, we can get a little unreasonable also.
Okay. We'll do that with the other at-large council person. Do it with him.
Sure.
Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you responding to the
I appreciate it.
questions.
Maybe I'll try to take you up on it. You can take me around your neighborhood and introduce me to some.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
I just got a Jeep, so we can go around, with the top of it.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Rogers. Councilman Esteve.
I appreciate your coming out tonight, and I appreciate your stewardship of a local community amenity. You guys are private, right?
Yes, sir.
You operate on a bond program, I assume residents are.
Yes, we do a bond, but do you want to explain the bond process?
We do, but we also serve the.
You want to sit up here like the other guy?
I just want to say, but we also serve the community in that we offer swim lessons outside of our members. So we do have ownership for both, we do have ownership for both individuals and families. We added individuals because a lot of our population was growing older and was paying family rates. So we've tried to do that to keep, to stay with them. But we also offer swim lessons for anyone in the community, which are about 98% non-members come, and we fill all our swim lessons. So we hold those in the evenings. We also offer party rentals that come in, so we do that every summer. And so we have a lot of people that want to join the pool but don't live close, or they have a pool in their neighborhood, but they come to us for a swim team or they come to us to rent party space. So even though we are a member pool, we have a lot of amenities that we do open up outside of our membership.
Understood.
And our membership prices are very competitive considering the other pools around in the area and the private sports clubs.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that kind of gets to closer to the heart of the issue. So we've got 4 kind of pool clubs that operate similar to you guys, right? And then we have a handful of HOAs and recreation associations in the city limits that also have their own kind of pool amenities. So I guess my concern is, we gave between $500 and $7,500 to the chamber earlier tonight, but there's precedence there. We support them for specific programs for years. They do things that we couldn't do. There is no other, well, no, there's the Bowie BIC, and we also give them money, and they have specific deliverables they have to give. They compete for that. Because we have, a number of pools in the community, for me, the challenge would be coming up, one, with a dollar amount, two, a list of what we would or wouldn't pay for, and three, a rationale for what we would or wouldn't pay for at any number of the private pools and clubs that we have, right? So from my perspective, I want to help. I think we can find a way to help, but we have to find a way to help that makes it possible for all similar situated pools and private amenities in the cities to be able to access a certain amount of help. And not to be too transactional about it, but we had conversations with one of the pools in Bowie a couple of years ago where they wanted us to help pay for certain amenity repairs. And at the time, we talked to them about, what if we basically help maintain specific amenities they had in exchange for an agreement that they would make the specific amenities we were helping to pay for more available to the public. Specifically, we looked at their tennis rentals, because that's an area of kind of high demand right now between tennis and pickleball and whatnot. Is there a situation where you'd be willing to work with the city on some sort of an agreement?
Yeah, absolutely, because we've talked to some other grant opportunities at different times. There was an electrical grant and some other things we've kind of put in for in the past, and we have spoken to them about opening up. Senior citizens often contact us for like water aerobics, and would we be willing to do some, first, of course, the families would be vetted, or the senior citizens would be, the need would be vetted, but we could offer swim lessons or a water aerobics program, or we have tennis courts that are very much in need of repair, which we would be glad to open those up to the community if we could get some assistance. Unfortunately, like what we call, fortunately and unfortunately, we have a hidden gem. The other three major pools in Bowie, I grew up at one, at a different pool, they are on major streets that you go by and see them. They get a lot of publicity that way. Not many people know about ours. We have people that live on Pointer Ridge Drive and Peach Walker on our street and don't see us until we put signs out on the roads. We've been we went on Central Avenue the last 2 years for our open house weekends. We have people now coming from Oak Creek and some other communities because their pool is small and they wanted the amenities of our pool. So absolutely, we are willing to work with, if there's a certain program or a need the city has. I feel like we're a small enough, we call ourselves smaller than the other three pools, that we could be more flexible with offering that, an agreement or a need, maybe helping the city fill a need. So I kind of feel like when we say hidden gem, it's this great thing that we love, but it's not easily seen from the road. We're covered by trees, so we don't have a lot of advertising. And then we are trying to remain within similar dues of what the other pools are charging their members. So that's our hard part, is we really use all of our membership money for operating expenses, for lifeguards, for water, for electricity. I mean, we really, between the families here, we donate hundreds of hours. None of us get paid. But we just believe in the cause, and we're just trying to see this year if there's any way we can get any assistance to maybe move forward. So we do understand that there are other pools. I think they're in a little bit more of a fortunate position than us. I wish, I'm hoping maybe we can get back to be more competitive with them. But at this point, we just looking for help, but we believe in our cause, and we would love to work with, if there was anything the city specifically needed, if there was an arrangement we could do to provide that, we would be more than willing.
You guys have 4 full-size tennis courts?
Yes.
Okay. What I would propose to my colleagues for consideration is that we direct city personnel to work with the 4 clubs that we know of, and to come up with an arrangement where we identify a specific dollar amount that we would make available for those who want to apply for specific things, and we cap that, year to year. I would propose that we draw up a list of specific requirements that we would have that would be consistent for any applicant, whether that's an MOU on use of racket facilities or, other potential facilities, or even that potentially sets ranges on what the pools can charge, upper limits and lower limits on what they can charge for bond membership or other things. But I would suggest that we kind of take this and consider an approach that makes a specific dollar amount available to kind of all the groups that would fall within this category, so that it's not, so that's not a haphazard, conversation kind of every time a need comes up with one of these folks. And I'm open to discussion. I'm open to ideas.
Thank you, Councilmember Stev. Councilwoman Ndebamadu? Nothing there? Okay, very good. All right. As for me, I will offer my comments. I do appreciate the extension of the opportunity offer to do something that makes it more accessible for others. And I do think that it will also, anything along those lines would help in terms of making people aware that they could also step up in class, if you will, and go for the full experience. And I think it's a great opportunity, and I do appreciate the work that you've done, as well as everybody else here, because I do know, having although I'm no longer a member, I was a member of one of the other clubs, and I know it's no small effort to be a board member and to support the pool on an ongoing basis. So thank you all for what you do. It's a big part of the community. And I'm sorry that you guys, particularly for the youth here, sorry that we're last on the agenda or next to last as well. So it's unfortunate for that. So I apologize. And Mr. Brady.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you for coming forward. Let me start off with this. This request has been put in against a budget item in our current budget, municipal grants. And yes, there are 3 other clubs that could probably use some help, and I don't dispute that, but we're here looking at this in the context of the grant funding that we have made available to the public, and I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, and I think we should support it. I have to apologize. I live 6 houses away from the pool, and I have never been a member of the pool. And you have to understand.
I will pick you up and you can check it out.
Well, I've been there a couple of times. No, I was going to say the selling point on our house when Kathy and I were, my wife and I were looking in September of '87, tells you how long we've been here. The first thing she saw, and the only thing she saw, was the pool in the backyard. So she got the pool and I got the maintenance. So it's the filter and it's the pumps and it's the chlorinator and it's everything else. So
But we could use your experience.
that is available in light of my, not that, but my background is facility engineering as an electrical engineer. So, but that's beside the point. But no, I think we need to look at this in the context of the request, and it's coming in against the funds that we have in our current budget. Now, I don't dispute the fact that probably all 4 clubs could use some help, and what I would suggest is to get some consensus from my colleagues to task staff with reaching out and having a conversation with the 4 clubs to see what their status is as far as their finances, what their needs are, and is there a way that the city can partner with all 4 of them in order to help out. And it may be something that for the support the city gives the clubs, we get something back, like in time for expanded use through seniors or pickleball. I think one of them was the people. So I think there's an opportunity, but I think that's a separate issue from what we're here discussing tonight. And I would encourage my colleagues to support this. It's a worthwhile endeavor. And I think it would be fall exactly in line with what the intent of this grant program was, to help the community to serve the citizens of Bowie. So I would encourage my colleague to support that. Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilman Rogers?
Thank you. So I hear Councilmember Estev in that we need to have standards that we use whenever we provide grant requests. I understand that part. But I also understand, being someone that has, for the last 15 years, been responsible for running needy organizations that don't have money, I also know that there's an immediate need. And you're trying to assist this organization in thriving. And I'm quite sure there's probably other resources out there as well. I agree that there should be some type of agreement so that the city can take advantage of it. My concern is, I totally agree with providing you the money that you've requested. I don't have a problem with that at all. I totally agree with Councilmember Estev. We need to have standards. We need to have something to measure against so that we treat everyone relatively equally. But I also know, I know Councilmember Brady said, you know, maybe we can go out and reach out to the other swimming racket clubs and see what their needs are. My concern is that they haven't asked for anything. The other ones haven't. We can create standards so that when they do come in and ask for stuff, we have the funds available, or at least we try to have the funds available. My concern is as we move out in the next 6 months to a year, we don't know what our finances are going to be like. So therefore, I understand the need to make sure that everyone is handled the same way. But right now, we have a group that has come before us with a specific need. And I'm excited about the opportunity to help you meet that need, albeit a small, you know, opportunity. It's not, you're not getting a whole lot of money, it's just a small amount of money. But I think that when you have an organization that's been in this community for such a long while, and I would love to see the organization branch more out in District 4 and District 3, in these communities that don't have swimming pools, so that we can get our kids and grandkids, whoever else over there, and we can come over and do pickleball. So this would just be the beginning. So anyway, I strongly support providing the money now, but setting standards in the future so that when others come in, we have something to measure it up against. So thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for your time.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rogers.
I did have one question. It sounded like from the discussion this was coming out of a particular already set-aside grant fund. Which grant fund is this coming out of?
We have a council fund for $100,000. It's the same that speaks, that we tapped into for the earlier discussion on the,
It's the, real quickly, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, it's the municipal grants under the city council page in the budget. It's account number 01110-55050.
I'd forgotten
it's
that we had-
$100,000, and we just awarded $25,000 to the chamber on it.
Yeah, I'd forgotten we'd picked up this fun little habit from the county. Okay. All right. Okay. If it's coming out of a specific allocated fund, and we have until what, next July, or this coming July, this fiscal year, before that account's closed and replenished for next year?
Yes, June 30th.
All right, so we're April. Okay. So we got, and how much is left in the fund? 75,000?
Yes, affirmative. Yes,
All right, so
that's
if
correct.
3 pools show up and ask for 24,778 each, we can say yes to 2. And
They'll have to wait till July 1st.
all right. Okay. All right, understood. I do think we need to get some clear guidelines around what we're doing here, because $100,000 is almost 2 full city employees doing something. And our fiscal situation going forward is going to be rough. But understood. Thank you for clarifying.
All righty, thank you very much, Councilman Estev. Any other thoughts, questions? All right, turn the floor over for a motion.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I would move that we approve their request for a grant in the amount stated in their application, only because I don't have it in front of me. Do that based upon the fact that it meets the needs or the specifications listed under municipal grants in our budget. I don't disagree with the fact that we need to come up with a process with some parameters for how we do these things in the future, and that's actually something with 3 of my colleagues that I've talked about for over 6 months, that we need to come up with a way to do it that's outside of our hands until the final approval. Yet we have now approving the second one, but I would move the approval of this.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions on the motion? I would have one question / comment. It falls in the category of friendly amendment, which would be to ask staff to work with the Point Ridge Club, see if there's any collaborative opportunities for the city and the pool.
I accept that.
All right. So the motion's on the floor as amended.
Second.
There's been a proper second. Call for the vote. First of all, any other questions on the motion?
Is now an opportunity on this motion to ask that we, at our next council meeting or council meeting, discuss specific guidance around this particular grant program that we have for ourselves?
I think might be a separate one, but I think we should be willing to consider it, yeah.
Am I able to make a motion after this when this issue is over?
You bet.
Okay, great.
All right.
All right. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. And we hope to see you.
Thank you.
Well, Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to have somebody from Community Services, Nick or his deputy, contact these good residents and work out our little grants agreement that we have.
All right. And if I could, since we have the floor open on this general conversation point right now, following up on Councilmember Estev's commentary, Mr. Estev, would you like to elaborate a little bit on what you're looking for? Maybe we can call for a consensus to
I'll
direct
elaborate.
staff.
We're going to go broke real quick if we keep doing this. So let's get some rules on how we're going to spend our 100K each year. Otherwise, we're going to have a line out the door at the start of the fiscal year, and we'll be out of money in 10 minutes. So next council meeting, let's create an agenda item where we discuss specific parameters, or I know Councilmember Brady had some specific ideas around maybe how these proposals can be evaluated. Maybe we have a particular committee set up ad hoc to evaluate these. We create a specific time frame when people can apply, when evaluations happen, how they're determined, and come up with some specific criteria for what that determination looks like. So folks are open to having that conversation. Yeah,
absolutely.
That is what I would move.
All right,
that we discuss at a future council meeting.
We will
Specifically the next one, whenever that is in 2 weeks.
All right, fair enough. All right. Consensus, all in favor of that? Yes. Good?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll put it on the next council agenda. So we will have that as a subject of discussion, and hopefully that will lead to some closure on how we want to address this going forward. Because Mr. Councilmember Estev is correct, and it's a real concern, and particularly as we're heading into the budget cycle, it will become even more apparent as to what the drivers are for his concerns. Absolutely. All right, the next item on the agenda are council discussions on anti-bullying. The main proponent for that is not available this evening. So I'm looking for a motion to table.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'm sorry, excuse me. Mayor had called in earlier. Mr. Lott is going to talk about it real quick.
Very good. All right, then we'll hold off on that motion, Councilmember Brady, and we'll turn over to staff and see what we can learn.
Well, sorry the mayor couldn't come in. I think he's having some significant technical difficulties. But last Thursday, he did talk to me about this particular endeavor of his, and I think he wanted to be in a position to award $1,000 in funding to a program in City of Bowie schools for anti-bullying. And he had spoken with, Miss Sarah Hossein. Could you come up to the mic, please? And somehow been convinced that this was a worthy endeavor that we should take up. Filling in, that's the best I can do. I think the next thing is for us to hear from Ms. Hussein first.
Well, thank you very much. I was unaware that we had someone to speak in his absence. I was counting on the mayor, and obviously, as you heard, he has technical difficulties. So thank you for being here this evening, and we will turn to you for some insights.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Thank you to the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members this evening. And this is the No Bullying Bear, guys. If you've never seen him before, I wanted to introduce him to the council. He's somewhat of what I've called a celebrity, the mascot of hope. If you guys went to school in the area, you know McGruff, the crime dog. He used to go around to the schools, and he would talk to the kids about things that were going on in the schools and the systems, and he would fight crime. And so essentially, our organization, which we are the No Bullying Bear Foundation, we created a mascot. Something that was tangible that the kids could connect with, someone that they could talk to and give hugs to build a sense of camaraderie in the schools. And so I don't have much time, so I want to be very clear and concise. I'm here for one reason, and that's the children and their mental health. We were in an assembly about 4.5 weeks ago at a school in Prince George's County. While we were in the middle of the assembly talking, there was a young lady who was there between the ages of 11 and 13 years old. She stood in the middle of the assembly and she said to the entire school that she was thinking about committing suicide because kids had been bullying her over and over again, and she did not have a way to express her feelings because guess what? Nobody asked her how she was feeling. I have gone to schools in Prince George's County. I have worked with schools in Washington, D.C., Charles County as well. And some schools have shared with me they have 3 counselors for 700 children. It's only 180 instrumental days in the school. So that tells me it would take almost 2 years in order for a counselor to talk to every child in that school. And as we know it right now, kids are being bullied every day. But she said in front of the audience, I never shared this because no one asked me. And the reason why there was no time to ask because teachers are filled up. They're trying to correct papers, they're trying to discipline children, and they're trying to do their job to the best of their ability. So they need organizations like us to be able to come into the schools and have these assemblies and have these conversations. So it was puzzling to me because for the length of time that she said she had experienced bullying, and then to say she was thinking about committing suicide in front of 300 kids and counterparts, it was puzzling to me that no teacher, no counselor, no school principal, no assistant principal knew her conditions. I don't think none of us are psychics. We can't tap into kids' minds and say, hey, I'm looking at you and you think about committing suicide, but there are telltale signs. Last year on Fox News, our state's attorney, Aisha Brayboy, she was there, and she reported on truancy. And she said that truancy was a huge issue in Prince George's County. When I looked at the statistics, it says 21.9% of students are not showing up for school. And the reason why they're not showing up is because 1, peer pressure. 2, students have told them it's not cool. And 3, because they've been bullied and they do not know how to address their mental health amongst other students. So opposed to coming to school and learning, I would rather skip school and not show up because guess what? I don't have the new Jordans. I can't afford the new Nike tennis shoes. My mom can't pay for me to get the new hairstyles. And the worst part of it all is that more students with autism, more students with disability, and students who are coming out of the cancer units, I'm sorry, but it was one that broke my heart because it was a young lady who came out of the cancer unit. She just got out of the cancer unit, and she rang the bell. She came home. Her parents allowed her to go to school, to start school again after months of chemo. She goes into the school, and the kids teased her, and they called her bald-headed. She didn't have eyebrows. She didn't look like the rest of them. But they didn't know that every single day for the last 10.5 months, she was fighting for her life because she had a brain tumor at 9 years old. So you guys tell me, what can we do better?
What can we do just a little bit better? I don't blame the kids that's teasing. I blame us as a community for not having these conversations and not talking to the kids about their mental health and not sharing with them that they matter. So our program is not so much about bullying. Our program is about teaching the kids about character. So when we go into these schools and they see this no bullying bear, I don't want you to get sad when someone calls you bald-headed because you just came out of the cancer unit. I want you to feel empowered that you survived. I want you to know that you're strong, that you're capable, that you're a survivor, and that you're a warrior. And so when we go into these school buildings and we're doing these school assemblies, is what we do, that's what we're doing. We're empowering kids, and we're telling them that they matter and that they mean something. And God forbid, I go around, I talk to schools, I email schools, and guess what's the first thing that they say? They don't have money. They don't have the funding. So today I speak before myself. I speak for the kids with cancer. I speak with the kids who have diseases, kids who have autism, kids who are suffering mentally, kids who just need a break. I speak for them today. I speak for the voiceless, that we need your support. And I'm here in Bowie City Council, at Bowie City Hall, because I trust and I believe in you guys, and I believe in your work, and I believe in your efforts. Thank you, guys. I yield my mic. I had a 2-page dissertation, okay? As a master program graduate years ago, you know, you write up a dissertation and you got all these wonderful things and all these statistics, but I don't have to tell you about the statistics. I can tell you today about the stories. And those are the stories that matter. So I thank you. I yield my mic. And again, let me introduce you guys to the No Bullying Bears. This is when the kids shout, they go crazy, and they have that opportunity to speak and have a voice. So I appreciate you guys. And if you have any questions, I'm open and available. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, and thanks for sharing the stories and the importance your work is doing. We appreciate all that you do, because I know it takes as obviously an emotional toll, as well as a lot of time, energy, and effort to do that, and something that's clearly not able to be supported through the regular program at the school. So thank you for being here this evening, and thanks for sharing. Let me start off by asking council members here if there's any questions or thoughts or discussions. No?
I have a question.
Councilmember Rogers.
Just a quick question. So you are representing an organization? What's the name of your organization?
So it's the No Bullying Bear Foundation. So No Bullying Bear Foundation.
Okay. Thank you. That was my question. I was trying to figure out.
I'm sorry, I probably went straight in.
You did, but thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Anybody else have any thoughts or questions? Councilman Truesdale.
Yes. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for, your heartfelt consideration for community and our children. I will say, when I saw the bear come in earlier tonight, I wanted to run back there and, but for the most part, thank you for staying up with us this evening. I really don't have, how long, well, I do have a question. How long have your organization been in?
Around. So the No Bullying Bear was created in 2019. So we've been all around the community doing different community events and working with different schools. I transitioned a No Bullying Bear program, the foundation piece, in 2023 because I felt like it was more of a necessity in the schools.
Mm-hmm. And in that time, because just, we were right in COVID at, the next year, how did that affect the engagement of creating environments for children or for young adults as well?
You said, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first question.
How are you creating these environments to be transparent with young people in our schools?
Sure. So we do it by 2 ways. The first one is a school assembly, where we come into the schools and we talk to the kids about bullying, the different effects of bullying, how to prevent it. So that's the first one. So typically, because schools have so many children, they have split assemblies where they'll do maybe 200
kids this hour, another 200 that hour until we get through the whole school. The second piece, we have an ambassador program where we actually teach the kids. This is a year-long program where we come into the school and we create leadership opportunities for them, and they kind of ambassadors for our organization, where they knock out bullying and they kind of fight it amongst themselves. So they have badges of honor that they wear. We provide blazers for them. So it's kind of like we're building up an academy of students who can say, you know what? If they see someone in the hallway teasing someone, they can be a vocal and a speaking point for those who don't have a voice. So some of our students who are in autistic programs or who have autism, they're nonverbal. So they can't speak for themselves, but we'll have those ambassadors who will be able to be a voice for them.
Great. Now, are the ambassadors, are they part of, let's say, when creating this environment, having testimonies like you had with the young lady, she was openly transparent, giving her testimony. How or what does the follow-up looks like?
So essentially, because it happens so rapidly in the middle of an assembly, we immediately told us, okay, stand with us during the assembly. You're going to be our helper for this evening. So she stood up with us during the course of the assembly. When the assembly was over, we had a direct, immediate conversation with her. And then she was referred to the counselor and to the school behavior and structural facilitator. So they worked together as a school to be able to follow up and engage with her. The only way for us to continuously follow up is if we have the ambassador program where we come in on a consistent basis. If we're doing the assemblies, we come in maybe twice a year to each school, and then as we build relationships, the schools can refer us to different programming. And then what we do is at different schools, we give them a bullying toolkit. It's like a resource kit. So if kids need a crisis hotline, if kids are thinking about committing suicide, there's actually a Maryland crisis hotline that they can call and begin to have those conversations around not wanting to take your life as a result of bullying.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you,
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Certainly. All right, anybody else? Councilmember Ndebamadu?
Thank you.
No? Nothing? All right, well, thank you very much for coming in this evening. We are absent one of our key proponents on this, and we will take a look, and we will have a conversation and come to some sense of closure when the mayor is here, and he can talk to us about his vision on this as well. So I want to thank you for being here this evening. Very much appreciate the good work that you're doing, and we'll look to move this forward shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you, no bullying.
All right, next item on our agenda is a briefing on eminent domain. We'll turn to staff for that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and members of council. Again, my name is Richard Hall, and I'm the Director of Planning and Sustainability Department here in the city. And I will give you a brief briefing. A little envious that I don't have a planning bear, but anyway, I'll get through this quickly.
Maybe a planning penguin, something that's got you need a platypus or something like that. So you need some alliteration.
I like that. I'll take whatever I can get. Thank you. So I have a very short PowerPoint here for you, and I'm going to give you little background issues on eminent domain. And so it stems from, and I should preface this, of course, by making it clear, I am a planner, I'm not an attorney. And I'm mainly focused on the policy issues here, but this is something that planners spend a lot of time talking about. So I just want to give you a little bit of background. I was asked to talk about eminent domain and the Kelo case, which is one of the Supreme Court case I'll talk about in just a minute, and what a lot of people refer to when bringing this issue up. So the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment is, paraphrasing it here, says, shall not take private property for public use without just compensation. And you can see just compensation, private property, and public use are highlighted there. And there are three types of takings, speaking generally. Tonight we're talking about eminent domain. The others, there come up a fair amount also in the public realm are regulatory takings and certain types of exactions. But again, we're focusing on eminent domain tonight. And it is permitted with compensation for a public purpose. And traditionally, when people most think about eminent domain, they're thinking about the government taking the road for a highway, for example. That public purpose is very, very clear to most people. What is maybe a little bit more nuanced in some instances is taking land for community and economic development. But that is really what the key of the Kelo case was about. And a very quick summary of that, again, a Supreme Court case, 2005, so we're at the 20th anniversary of that. There's been discussion about this nationally, but again, this is the U.S. Supreme Court, and it was the city of New London, Connecticut, had an economic development strategy, and they were taking properties for a project. They had bought many of them, but there were a few holdouts. And one of them was a woman that owned a relatively small house in the middle of the area, Mrs. Kelo, and she held out and sued along with a few other property owners, and it made it all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. And it was a controversial case, but in the end, the Supreme Court sided with the city, recognizing that economic development is a legitimate public purpose. One of the things that helped the city here is they had a public strategy plan for economic development for that project, for that redevelopment project. I think it's very important to point out, maybe in some ways more important to point out, that Maryland's highest court upheld a case all the way back in 1924, so it's 101 years ago, for using eminent domain for economic development, and that was for the Baltimore Harbor. So I just want to point that out, that this is not a new issue, especially in Maryland. New issue meaning using eminent domain for economic development, community revitalization. I really think it's not as much of a legal issue as long as it's done correctly. It's more for us, I think, here, especially in a state like Maryland, with pretty sophisticated land use laws and history. It's much, I think, more of a policy issue, and a financial issue, and a political issue, more than a legal issue here in Bowie. A couple things just at the staff level. These are certainly general, but again, trying to keep this presentation fairly simple, and glad to elaborate and to follow up if that is the desire of council here. But just a couple things I would suggest at this juncture. Eminent domain should be a last resort for acquiring lands. The city should have a good and public plan where the need for acquisition is clear and justified. And lastly, where possible, and potentially needed in some cases, but we need to proceed with caution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Very much appreciate the update, or the presentation, I should say. And I know that there were some questions earlier about this subject, and I'll turn over to my colleagues for any follow-up questions. Yeah. Nothing?
I don't have questions, but I have comments.
Councilman Brady?
Can I have comments?
You certainly may.
Okay. Thank you for this presentation. It's kind of an outgrowth of a conversation I had with staff and request I had with staff that we do this, mainly because I think it needs to be out there. And one of the comments you made was that it should be the last resort. And I totally agree with that. But at the same time, it may be something that is necessary in order to move forward with a plan that can enhance and economically enhance and develop a part of a city that is heading in the wrong direction. I don't want to say it's blighted, but it's heading in the wrong direction. I think the major controversy of the New London issue had to do with the fact that the developer tried to buy the properties and the property owners would not sell. So the city condemned them, paid the property owners a just price, and then turned right around and sold it to the developer. And that was the big controversy. And people thought it was inappropriate, but as the Supreme Court decided, economic development is an item in that quiver, if you will, that is available to cities and counties, so that if nothing else, knowing that we have this power, if we have a development proposal that is hamstrung by reluctance of a property owner, maybe just them knowing it, they may be a little more agreeable, not to give it to us and for us not to steal their property, but rather to have opening their eyes a little bit on the need and the benefit to the community versus the individual. So I appreciate this briefing. I take your comments about the last resort and a strong and public plan to heart, and we need to have that at the center of whatever we do. If we need this, we need to make sure we're very cautious about it. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilman Brady. Anybody else?
I just want to say thank you to Mr. Hall and staff for sticking around so late tonight, and thank you to Mr. Brady for bringing this up, because I've forgotten about this, and this was a helpful update. So thank you all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Ndebumadu, any questions, thoughts? All right, hearing none, I am looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to move to adjourn us to closed session under the statutory authority of Maryland Annotated Code, General Provisions, Article 3-305B15, quote, to discuss cybersecurity if the public body determines that the public discussion with cons to risk of 1, security assessments or deployments related to the information resources technology, 2, network security information such as information related to passwords, personal ID numbers, access codes, encryption, security devices, or vulnerability assessments, or that a government entity collects or maintains to prevent, detect, investigate criminal activity, or 3, deployments or implementation of security personnel, critical infrastructure, or security devices.
And there's been a proper motion so eloquently delivered and exceptionally seconded. I will now call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Here, the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you all for being here this evening, and thank you again to staff for all of your support and work this evening.